We're going to be going over the 3 best fragrances you can buy for each season: spring, summer, fall, and winter. We're going to start off with spring. It's coming right up, and I can't wait. I think you really can't go wrong with why Eau de Parfum Intense during that time. And the reason why is because this one backs off on some of that sweetness a little bit that can be a bit cloying when it starts to warm up. And spring is manageable for sure. You know, why EDP, all of that sweet apple. It can really get away from you in the summertime. Spring, when it's a bit cooler out, you could still do it. But I do like the focus on the aromatics in this one. And to me, oftentimes I equate aromatics to the season of spring. And it just has that balance of the aromatics, the woods, and just some of that amberwood, kind of ambroxan blue scent vibe going on in here that is common within the entire lineup. And I've said this before, and I've gone on and on about this. I don't probably need to bring it up again, but this is one of their best releases. They really got smart with this one, in my opinion, and it seems as though they listened to feedback, although unlikely. Especially, they're probably not paying a lot of attention to what we're saying, but one of the main issues with this DNA was the apple was a bit too strong for some, and they completely eliminate it here. To me, it makes it even more versatile than the EDP, the Parfum, and in some instances, even the Eau de Toilette. So if you're looking to pick up just one YSL-Y, only one, I would say your best bet and the most well-rounded would be this new Eau de Parfum Intense. It's on discounters now. It's just a hair over $100. It's really not all that bad in the grand scheme of the crazy prices of designers these days. And it's one that would be great once it starts to thaw out a little bit outside, but it's also not crazy hot either. And also, to be fair, you could wear that one in summer as well. Either way. And also, to be fair, you could wear that one in summer, but I like it for spring. Okay, next up we have Missoni Parfum. So the original, not Wave. Wave would be a great option for spring or summer. The Parfum is more spring focused, in my opinion. So you got a lot of grapefruit, birch, some other woods in here. And it's a masculine, woody, slightly spicy mint scent with a little bit of a resemblance to Bleu de Chanel, but ultimately goes off in its own direction. And also coming in at around, I think it's $40, maybe $45 for this. Great price point, very affordable. And again, we're talking discounters. It's got a magnetic cap, nice custom presentation, a lot of versatility. Spring, it's going to work great. Pretty much any situation that you can think of, going to work, going to school, dressed up, more casual, doesn't really matter. You can pull this off for pretty much anything. And so if you're looking to keep cost down and you want to build up a collection that's going to be on the more affordable end of things, this is one that would be a good starting point. And the last one for spring that we're going to be going over is Givenchy Gentleman Eau de Toilette Intense. And so this one, it does have some of that iris, but not a ton, compared to the EDP and the Reserve Privé and things like Gentleman Absolute and stuff. This is going to be on the fresher end. So it has tonka bean, cypress, and iris, focusing on the woods, focusing on the aromatics, with a little bit of a powdery undertone, but not to the point where it's a full-on winter scent. I would view this as a great choice for one of those cooler spring days, perhaps like a gloomy, rainy spring day when, it's just going to be some cloud cover. It's going to be on the cooler end of things. This would be a perfect option. Again, as far as versatility goes, I don't think there's a situation that you couldn't wear this one in. Formal, casual, it doesn't matter. This brings a lot of value to the table. And I think I've seen this as low as mid-60s for testers with cap. That works out to be a great price. And really quickly, you could get entered to win 15 brand new in-box fragrances or $500. If you hit the link down below, you can figure out how to get signed up there. Everything from Armani code, Absolu, a Mancera, Tonka Cola, Brioni Eau de Parfum Intense, and so on is included in that bundle, or you could be taking home that $500 cash prize. So make sure you hit the link down below. Running down to the end-ish, about 16 days left, so make sure you get in if you're interested. Let's go over to summer, okay? And summer, great time of year for fragrances, but it can also be a bit redundant because a lot of summer scents can start to smell the same. And so I went for a few that kind of stand out and do their own thing. The first one is Acqua di Gio EDP, and I'll tell you, it's really easy to forget about this one when you put it up against Profondo and the Parfum, which are talked about quite a bit more, or Profumo, you know, that was getting talked about a lot more as well before they switched it to the Parfum. So I just think the EDP is kind of in a tough spot where it's in the middle. People are still going on about the EDT, you know, years later, 20 plus years later. Profondo is getting a lot of hype, which it deserves. The Parfum is new and it's taking over Profumo. That's kind of built-in hype. And so this one just, I don't know, it's not really going to get the same amount of attention. I don't think it ever will. But I'll tell you, you know, when you go back to this one and try it after you've been wearing the others so much, it really gives you a new appreciation for it. Amped up the aromatics big time here. A lot of rosemary and clary sage and lavender and all that stuff. With some of the aquatic notes in here, a little bit of orange. It smells phenomenal. One way I've described this one is that it reminds me a little bit of Acqua di Gio Essenza. And anybody who's been around for a while now would remember Essenza. It was kind of at the peak of its hype right when I was getting into this hobby, and luckily I secured a bottle in time, and then it went discontinued right after. So like it got discontinued right at the peak when it was really getting on everybody's radar. That's a big shame because it's really good. And they're not exact, but this is the closest thing you can get to Essenza. And Essenza essentially was just an aromatic heavy version of that DNA. This next one here kind of fulfills my sweet fragrance kick in the summertime. You know, I love sweet scents, but I also love the season of summer. And so, you know, I'll wear sweet fragrances all through fall and winter and try to wear them until I get sick of them. And then, you know, spring, summer comes along and I'm enjoying the weather. But sometimes I do start to miss the complexity of, you know, cooler weather scents, even though I much prefer warmer weather in general. And so this is one that I'll spray on to kind of, you know, give me some of that without wearing a straight up winter scent. It's a Summer Gourmand Chanel Allure Homme Edition Blanche. So it's got lemon, tonka bean, some vanilla in here. Smells fantastic, and it truly is a lemon forward take on the kind of creamy ozonic Allure Homme DNA. It smells phenomenal. It's super unique. Nothing else out there like this. You'll hear this one described as smelling like a lemon meringue pie many times. It's kind of one of the go-to descriptors of this, and it's pretty accurate. You know, I can't argue with that. And so because of that, it has a bit of an edible smell, a tiny bit of a sweetness, therefore summer gourmand. There aren't too many gourmand scents that you could comfortably pull off in summertime. I mean, indoors is fair game. You could probably wear anything, but if you're going to be wearing it outside in the heat and stuff, most of them are going to get annoying. But this is one that actually gets better with that heat. You know, it opens up and gets a bit stronger, projects more, and just smells beautiful. It almost has a little bit of a sparkle in the heat from that lemon coming to life. Definitely one worth grabbing. And our last summer scent we're going to be going over is Artisan Pure by John Varvatos. So this is another one that could be interchanged with, you know, spring, summer, whatever. It's very much focused on the aromatics here, but with a lot of orange, petitgrain, which is kind of giving a crushed leaves, green, neroli type of smell. And I already mentioned the orange, but I'll bring it up again because they have a couple different types of orange in here, clementine, and then I think a couple others. And so they're proud of the orange, and that does tie it back to the original Artisan. So one thing I will give them credit on, as a whole, the brand has done a good job of keeping their flankers in line to where they make sense. So the Dark Rebel and Dark Rebel Rider correlate with each other. All of the Artisans kind of tie back to that original in one way or another. Even the newer Artisan XX or XX Artisan, the vetiver one, is using quite a bit of orange as well to tie it back to that OG Artisan, which I think was released in, what, the mid-2000s or something. It's been out for a while, and so it's cool that they've done that. And Artisan Pure was a huge hype beast. When this one came out, it was all over the place fast. I don't know what it was about this one. I mean, it makes sense now. It smells so good and it is unique, but it took off like wildfire. And I think that is pretty remarkable given the fact that it's, you know, something that isn't as mass pleasing as like a Y Eau de Parfum Intense or something. And so it took a long time for this one to become affordable on discounters. It was like $60 for the longest time, which is not too far off from retail and definitely well above the typical going rate for these. Now it's finally settled down into the 30s and maybe low 40s, but I think oftentimes you're kind of in that $30 range for this one now. So it took a few years, but it finally is there. And at that price, I'm telling you, this is worth every penny. It's something truly unique for the summertime. Kind of like we've talked about, a lot of summer scents run together, smell similar, maybe get a bit boring. Not the case with this. And if any of these are hard to find or out of stock right now, a little bit rare, maybe even discontinued, which none of these are discontinued, but just for future reference, if you're looking for anything that might be hard to find, hard to get, you can jump on my mailing list and texting list at the link and number down below. I'll shoot you a text, an email anytime something rare pops up or a good deal or a big sale happens. So definitely a resource worth taking advantage of. It's completely free to sign up. Next up, we have Rocus Mustache Eau de Parfum, jumping into fall. So this is the quintessential fall scent. Whenever I think of the season of autumn, one of the first fragrances, if not the first, that comes to my mind is this DNA. Okay, so that's key because this is not the originator of this smell. It's a YSL tuxedo clone inspiration, whatever. There's many other clones out there. This one's very similar, but with a twist, a little twist. So depends on what you're after. But I really like this one. This is one that I've worn heavily. I've worn this more than I've worn my actual bottle of tuxedo. And so I think that's saying something. My bottle of tuxedo, I decanted out so I could afford it back in the day when I bought it because I wasn't going to be able to pay the $250 or whatever it was retail. So I decanted the rest out, sold those decants, and kept the partial for myself. And I've never worn it that much because I don't want to run out, which is silly. But really, I could wear this and get a very similar result for a fraction of the cost. So I think on this one, you're looking at the $50 range or so. And I don't know what it is about this one. Patchouli balm, some pink pepper, vanilla in here. But this scent just smells like autumn. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm the only one that gets it to that extreme, because it doesn't have a bunch of cinnamon or apple or anything like you might normally contribute or equate to a fall scent. But I don't know. I don't know what it is. I have an obsession with this stuff. As soon as we get into September, I'm thinking about this DNA. This next one for fall could also work great for winter. That's kind of what you'll see here. A lot of these spring and summer and fall and winter can be interchanged between the corresponding seasons there. Just depends on your climate and what you're comfortable with. This one works great in fall, great in winter as well. Gentleman Eau de Parfum Reserve Privé. So 2 Givenchy Gentlemans in this video. And I'm not mad about it. I think they, for the most part, dollar for dollar, are some great, budget-friendly scents, at least in the grand scheme of things. They have gone up over the years, but still compared to your Dior's and YSL's and Armani's and Gucci's and, Chanel's, right? This is a lot more affordable. Maybe not this one in particular. I don't know. I think I've seen this one down into the 90s now. It'll continue to drop. Things like the EDP, Eau de Toilette Intense, they've stabilized more because they've been out longer. But you guys get the point. Comparatively speaking, typically Givenchy offers scents that are a little bit more affordable or cost effective. So this one has iris, chestnut, whiskey. Smells fantastic. Another gourmand here, but instead of a summer gourmand, it's more of a cooler weather scent. A little bit of a boozy kick, getting that sweet chocolatey iris, and then kind of an edible chestnut, which gives it a more up-to-date smell. Not that it smells dated, but chestnut is being used in the Stronger With Yous and a lot of other scents that it might not even be listed off. It just has that kind of new, trendy, sweet type of smell. Last up for fall, and this is kind of more of a personal preference for me, it's Ultra Male. A lot of people consider this one winter. And, realistically, yeah, it probably is more of a winter scent. But kind of going back to my weird obsession with the tuxedo, YSL tuxedo smell for fall, for whatever reason, ever since I first got this back when I started my channel in 2017, it has been specifically a fall scent for me. It's not to say I haven't worn it in winter, because I have, but it for the most part just smells more like fall. And I do think this one makes a bit more sense because it does have cinnamon. You're getting some fruits like pear, vanilla, some lavender, kind of playing back to that original Le Male DNA. I feel like I'm going to sneeze from that. Hit me pretty hard. It's spicy kind of, but it smells phenomenal. This is very much a guilty pleasure. A lot of people hate this. I love it. And I think it's very, very sexy for the season of fall. Although realistically, you would also, do really well with wearing this in winter. Speaking of winter, we're going to get into these now, running down to the end. PDM Layton. You could also go for Alharme Detour Noir or Maison Alhambra Layden, or something like, what else? Amber Oud Exclusive Blue. Many affordable alternatives. Don't think that you need to go out and spend the money on actual Layton to get the same result. You don't have to. For all intents and purposes, I'm featuring this just because I feature the clones sometimes, and sometimes I feature the real one. I kind of switch them in and out just so I can, tell people that you can buy the clones, but, you can also buy the real one if you want. And really, I wear the clones sometimes too. If it's going to be an all-day affair, or where I'm going to be getting multiple hours out of it, where I'm not going to take a shower or wash it off, or, we're just going out for the night, I'll treat myself to wear the actual one, I'll allow myself to do that. But if it's like a short wearing, few hours, and I'm taking a shower or going to bed or whatever, then I'll wear one of the clones and kind of save my money there. But I think this is great for winter. And again, going back to it, guys, great for fall as well, but you got to draw the line somewhere. This one also kind of has that cinnamon, apple, vanilla deal going on. So great fall scent, but also one that I tend to wear heavier in winter just because I'm more hung up with some of my other fall scents that I typically wear more. Next one for winter is, no surprise, one of my favorites within this line. Stronger With You Absolutely. Chestnut here, rum, vanilla, all of that good stuff. So this one is one of the most mature and kind of refined Stronger With Yous, at least before you start getting into some of the, kind of exclusive editions like Oud and Leather, just kind of from the mainstream line that's typically a bit easier to get. This one's going to be the most refined, and it's just one of my favorite ones. I've said this before many times and still feel this way. If you only want one Stronger With You, get Absolutely, and you can do without the rest. And last up for this video, had to conclude this. Spice Bomb Extreme, you probably heard that and knew what it was. Tobacco, vanilla, black pepper, one of the best designer tobacco scents created. At least designer that's around $100, not including like Tom Ford, which is a designer, but Tobacco Vanille is north of $200 for a 50 ml. So designer, $100 range tobacco scents, Spice Bomb Extreme is probably the best one out there. Alrighty guys, that's going to do it for me. 3 best fragrances for each season. I'll link them all down below. Anything that's rare, hard to find, will be on my mailing list and texting list. And again, you can get entered to win 15 brand new inbox fragrances or $500. Hit the link down below and get entered. And again, 16 days left, something like that. Armani code Absolu, just discontinued. Tonka Cola, Brioni Eau de Parfum Intense, Dior Sauvage Parfum, and many more. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.